Hello and welcome to today's Digital Dealer webinar. Today's webinar is sponsored by the Cardinal Group and it's titled Predictive Profit, Maximize Your Sales and Performance Utilizing Your Active Data. Today's webinar presenter is our very famous Erich, Gail, and the webinar will run approximately 1 hour with a question-answer portion at the end. Please help me welcome Erich, Gail.
Good morning and good afternoon. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you taking the time and investment of your day to spend the next hour to what should provide you with some block and tackle basic insight into how to perform, as is titled, predictive profit of your active operations. You know, often we are force-fed or drank from a fire hose the maximize your sales and your performance. All these different initiatives and shiny tools and widgets, and the reality is we have the opportunity to do that within our continued operations every single day utilizing our active data. And as shared, my name is Erich, Gail. I am pleased and privileged and honored to be able to lead the Cardinelli group of companies, which consists of the Cardinelli Automotive Group, Zmot Automotive Digital Velocity, and the Cardinelli AG Vehicle Supply Firm. Specific to our automotive group, we are blessed with 19 locations serving 11 OEM brand partners, representing a region consisting of 3 states throughout California, Arizona, and Nevada. We are, if you are not familiar with us as an automotive collection, we are a 100% digital organization. We do not prescribe to, nor do we invest in traditional media or any method of consumer or buyer targeting in the traditional sense. We are also, as a result, 100% and accept total responsibility for the investments that we make and the return that we expect, and that is at all levels, all associates. Beginning in 2010, from what was a transformative experience for us, in that our organization hemorrhaged in 08 and 09, we made the solid commitment to become a completely and totally digitally focused retailer. The fruits of our efforts and our daily disciplines have produced for us what was measured by Ward's Auto last year as the #2 highest sales volume e-retailer in North America. Additionally, many of you are familiar with our Zmot organization, purely an investment and performance partnership, working with and serving our fellow dealers outside of our competing market areas in a very confidential and very exclusive fashion. We have an organization that works with automotive manufacturers on the advanced product development, sales, marketing, and training of new products throughout the United States and Canada. In 2017, we have every intention of releasing 2 additional members of the Cardinelli group of companies, all focused and dealer-centric to serve our best interests as retailers. Every Cardinelli company, every branded organization operates under one very specific brand promise. It is not a logo, a mission statement, or a mantra. It is everything for us, and it says with absolute clarity, we develop outstanding relationships where everybody wins, period. It is the Cardinelli way, and it is the guide of every decision that we make. My question to you all today is that we have 55 minutes to essentially provide you with insights into your active operations, and I do have a value-add takeaway that I will make available to all of the dealer personnel on the line. After this webinar, I'll have the opportunity to be able to see who participated, and I will be more than happy to share with you an active calculator that we have developed that we utilize in our stores every single day. My question is, are you ready? Is fueled by 7 letters that will change your life. And it's courage. Do you have the courage to be uncomfortable? Do you have the courage to dig down deep within your data, within your operations, and recognize that there are areas that we can and should improve our performance on? Do you have the courage to negate and eliminate excuses? Recognizing that we all have to have the courage every single day in a leadership position, regardless of what it says on your business card or whether your name is on the building. We must recognize and accept the courage to start at start. If we think that something is either too basic or too complex and we do not take a step, then we have allowed ourselves, we have made a choice to fail, because others will find the courage, others will take a step, others will slip, stumble, and fall, but they had the courage to put themselves in motion. And once in motion, we should and can and will stay in motion. We're here today to talk about predictive profit. You're going to hear me talk a lot today about two very cornerstone non-negotiables of our automotive group and our group of companies, and they're focused on, quite simply, discipline and math, period. I would write that down. Over and over and over again, we can throw out all the shiny widgets and all the happy bells and whistles and all the $5.99 a month stuff that we think is going to be the quick fix pill to cure us or increase our performance. And the truth of the reality is it will always come down to discipline and math. The math and disciplines that we're going to talk about today are directly contained within our CRM, period. It is pure gold. Now, recognizing that I can't see all of your faces, I am sure that there are a number of you that may be leaning back in your chair at this point going, shit, now we're going to the CRM. I don't like the data. I don't believe the data. The data is not correct. People are putting the wrong stuff in there. I don't use it because it's inaccurate. And yet, courage says you have to define the date on the calendar, and my recommendation would be today, that says from this moment forward, good, bad, or indifferent, I am going to hold myself, our teams, our stores, our regions, whatever the case may be, I am going to hold us responsible for our data. And watch how quickly your data will begin to purify. Okay? So I want to recognize that our discussion today is going to be block and tackle basics that will have a transformative effect on your entire operation, and you will see it live. We live it every day, and it will provide itself in perfect clarity. So it's 2017. 2016 is over. Good, bad, or indifferent, whatever successes or challenges that you have, whatever forecasts you have, we cannot drive forward looking backward. Whatever was in 2016, learn from it, love it, grow with it, but it's 2017 and it's go time. So if you're sure you're ready, I'm going to show you how we roll. This represents a performance calculator that we had the ZMOT team build for us that essentially breaks down the key metrics that within our automotive group we look at every single day, multiple times per day. And in doing so, this platform, which is URL-based and specific to an individual user, provides us with less email reports, less charts and graphs, but when utilized, becomes the backbone of all of the performance-related discussions that we have on a store basis, a team basis, an individual associate basis. Remember, it's discipline and math. So we're going to blow this up. I had ventured to potentially use this as a live calculator, but not having a true understanding of what you may be able to see or not on your screens. I've opted for a static version, but we're going to run through sample scenarios of a sample store for us to be able to discuss today. So, very basic. And for the dealer personnel on the line, regardless of your store or your market area, you could be right across the street from one of our stores. We will let you have this, okay? It asks some very basic information. Master data. What will come as a result of your master data will produce for you 6 very specific insights that we look at, that you look at all the time, but in what manner, what view, what driver, what perspective or vantage point are we looking at? Additionally, and something that we were quite pleased with, is that this system will allow you to save what is true as of this moment versus what is my objective for the rest of the month, for the first quarter, for the year, and you'll have the ability to save these in a private environment. Before we get started, I want you to recognize, please, that these are individual users. This is your data that you put in. We have absolutely no desire to look at your data. I mean, I'll just share with you right now that as a dealer, I don't like when people are all up in our data, but the reality is we had to build a system for us to use. It is encrypted, and it's such that you would have the individuality to it. However, the reason why this was built in this fashion is so that it's personalized. It is just for you. What you do with it, with your teams, will come as a result of how well you familiarize yourself with this basic data. It will give you the opportunity to screenshot, print, whatever the case may be, and provide this as a guideline for your teams, weekly, monthly, daily, whatever the case may be. In the PowerPoint environment, it is an expanded view, but in the tablet or mobile or desktop version, it's all in one screen that you're able to view. But I'm going to blow this up so that you can all see it. All right? So let's look at a sample dealer 2017. Okay? I have taken some liberties here of using insights that we recognize from having not only our own stores in our transformation, but also other discussions with large regional retail groups and individual dealers within the United States and Canada. And there's just some realities that exist within the industry that a lot of people try to just shuck and jive and blow off. And so here we go. We're going to assume that this sample dealer scheduled 408 appointments in the prior month. Notate prior month. What we want to look at is what is our current batting average right up to the moment. And the true encapsulation of an entire month gives you, whether you like it or not, the insights to perform this study. So if we say, prior month being December, all it asked me to enter was my dealer name. You can call it whatever you want, but it's going to give you the personalization of your data. The prior month, we put in this case, 408. Look in your CRM, how many scheduled appointments did we have? Plug it in. Now, manager confirmed appointments usually is a stumper for most people. Do you VIP, manager, voice to voice, the appointments that are created in your system? It's either yes, no, or kind of. And kind of is code for no, all right? And the truth of the matter is, if we don't value that, that's some of what we're going to discuss today that will have a dramatic and immediate effect on your performance in a multitude of different ways. Number one, if 408 scheduled appointments was jick and smoke and bullshit that was meant to get a sales manager off someone's ass, so let me just put in an appointment for Rebecca Johnson, who I sold a car to 3 days ago, but I'm going to schedule an appointment to give her her second key, well, that's going to throw your data off. But when your managers and when you as leaders are actively involved in your data, and you look and say, well, we spent all this time, effort, money, and resources to make our phone rings, to make our form fills activate, why are we not confirming the appointment? Why are we not giving someone an experiential differentiator that they won't get elsewhere? It's a competitive advantage for you. So in this particular case, my assumption is, we confirm them, which means somebody clicks a box in the CRM that says confirmed. All right? Moving on to the next screen, which actually on this one view would just be a scroll, the shown appointments is a little more accurate because based on how your settings are in your CRM, sure, you can manipulate that, but notice how we only confirmed 102, but we had 204 shows because we really didn't confirm them. But you should put the data in so that you have an understanding of what's your correlation between created, confirmed, and shown. Now we have 204 shown, and we've sold 102 for the month, which means that we have a close rate of confirmed shown at 50%. We had 22 working days in the month. The yellow cells represent what is going to be asked of you, and in this case, you would put in the number of associates that you have in the prior month, and it will produce for you some real block and tackle data, which says we have 204 shown, we sold 102, we had 22 working days, I have 13 associates. My average created appointment per associate per day, which is where the fuel drives from the top of the funnel, was 1.43. Now that we've put in the master data, now we have the basic performance metrics of the store. Now it's time for us to dig in and let's predict with freakish accuracy what it's really going to look like this month, this quarter, or you could tell yourself, if you look at an entire year's worth of CRM data, okay, how many appointments did we create? How many did we click the box confirmed? How many showed? How many units did we sell? Then you can say, this year, if I change nothing, this is what's going to happen, and it will be adjusted by number of working days and number of associates. So let's take a look at sales quantity to needed performance. It's a single value in this particular view that powers everything on the entire report. How many units do I currently sell, or how many units do I want to sell? The choice is yours. Notice, in the second box below yellow, close sold rate of VIP manager confirmed shown appointments is 50%. That came from the master data. That cell will not change unless you change it in the master data file, okay? But in this particular case, just as a true to form check, let's put 102, that's what we sold last month, right? I click all the way through it. Here's my data as a side-by-side comparison to the areas in red and gray represent the Cardinelli standard. These are the metrics that we look at in real time every day, and if you're out of standard, we will call, our teams will work with our stores to correct any performance-related shortcomings or champion and acknowledge people who are well over set percentages. But if we did a side-by-side comparison, we have an 80% shown rate, an 80% confirmation rate, and an average appointment creation of 1.3 per associate per day, which means that in your data, or the sample data, the average was 31 appointments created per associate versus ours at the bottom of 28.6. All in, all done, let's scroll all the way down. It took 13 associates to sell 102 units. In our operation, it takes 7. It's just discipline and just math. It's not about working harder, longer hours. It's about working smarter within the hours and the investment of time and resources that you already have. We're going to look at this in a different view. It's 102 units sold, 13 versus 7. The discipline in math says, if you have 13, what could you really do if you affect some of these areas in small, incremental percentage gains, which is the courage to start at start and recognize, you know what, first out of the gate, I don't believe that we do 400 plus scheduled appointments in a month. I don't believe that all of our data gets into CRM. I don't really think we confirm appointments. I never hear people do it. I don't know if our show rate is correct. Once you have the courage to get the real data in there, oh, how liberating it will be for you to see. It will start to make a lot more sense if you sold 102 units in a month with 13 people. What's really happening? Half day, full day, by the week, half the month, the full month. Let's jump it up to 125 units, shall we? Using the same in-store disciplines in math, same view, which is driven by one calculation. The only thing this view is asking you is how many units do I want to sell, period. And based on my data, what work do I have to do? See, this is going to be your blueprint. If your current data says what you put in the master data side, then that's the current performance of the store. Good, bad, or indifferent, now we know. Now we know where to start looking at where can we be more efficient. If I have a desire to sell 125 units, if my current sold or close rate of shown confirmed appointments is 50%, that means that I need 250 shown appointments versus the Cardinelli standard that says in order for us to do that, we need 156. Okay, let's scroll down. The quantity of manager VIP confirmations is currently at 125 versus we would have 195. In order to sell 125 units based on the current data placed, this sample 2017 store would have to schedule, it's right there in the middle of your screen, they would have to schedule 500 appointments versus the Cardinelli standard at 244. You see what happens when you purify the accuracy of what is in your CRM? The average created appointments per associate per day would have to be 1.73 versus our standard measured every day of 1.3. The same working days means that the average created appointment in the entire month per associate would be 38 versus 28.6. And the total number of associates needed, we're keeping it at 13, would be 13 versus where we were at 7. In order to sell the other 25 units, we need 1.5 more salespeople. Okay? The discipline in math says you're working a lot harder with 13. Just think about what you could do if you shifted your percentages a couple at a time, month over month. It's called the compound effect. Once we put something in motion, if I have a close rate of 50% and I focus that to become 55%, 58%, the next month I want to be 62%, whatever the case may be. You're driving on a road that has a very clear path. 13 associates versus 8.5. What if your disciplines in math were in alignment? What could you really do with 13? So let's move to a different view. Total created appointment drives it all. This is a different view. This is a different conversation within your operation to say, well, of course we want to sell 125, right? And it provides for you all the math that you need. But let's start the other way around and say, I want to create X number of appointments in a month. So we have one called appointment volume to sales performance. This starts at the top and works its way down. If we put in 600 scheduled appointments in a month, utilizing, again, remember the anchored data that came from what you put in the master side, 600 equal comparison, the Cardinelli standard versus the place standard. 25% manager confirmation means that 150 will be manager confirmed versus 480 within our organization. Moving on, second box down, the quantity was 150, again, versus 480. Now the shown appointments would be 300 based on the sample data, or 384 to the Cardinelli standard. If the close rate of the shown appointments, which is a reflection of the quality of the manager confirmation, is 50%, you would sell 150 cars, period. That's exactly what the math says, and it's exactly what you'll do. Whereas we would sell 307. And the difference being 2.1 created appointments per associate per day versus, again, the standard of 1.3. Same working days. Look how many appointments need to be created if we lock it in at 13 associates. So obviously, in order to sell that many, we would need 21. Okay? The side-by-side comparison gives you the ability to start to pick off one at a time quality of appointment creation, quality of confirmation, quality and accuracy of shown, and alignment of sold to shown, which was confirmed. 150 units versus 307. It's just discipline and it's just math. The quality of a true appointment, the quality of a VIP manager confirmation is the requirement of us to be able to drive the performance that fuels continued growth and profitability. On the screen right now, you'll see something that I think is a daily reminder for us all. In any portion of our lives, it's fair to hold ourselves accountable and say, we won't change what we'll tolerate. If we tolerate it, it will not change. If we have the courage to stand up and draw the line on a particular day and say, from here on out, we're going to stumble and struggle, but we are going to get after, we are going to purify, we are going to find mastery of these basic elements. You want more? How about in-store referrals on every unit we sell? Now I'm going to stop here for just a moment because I want each of you, please, to stop and consider, regardless of what it says on your business card, that each of us are charged with a responsibility to provide a return on the investment that was placed by an owner group, a capital management group, an investor, a single dealer, whatever the case may be. Someone or something risk money to drive opportunities within the operation with the expectation that there's going to be a return. Now, for the general managers, the department managers, the dealers on the line, with the advances of technology and the types of things that we do collectively as retailers, we drive a tremendous amount of opportunities based on things that we've made at kind of a universal level in our stores. The types of merchandise, how we merchandise it, the mix of our used cars, how disciplined are we with velocity, with price to market, cost to market strategies, and so on. We can place ourselves in a highly advantageous position that drives incremental sales. So that if we said of the, let's go back to the original data of the sample dealer, we sold 102 cars to men women, and families that spent 2.5 to 3 hours with us. This does not even reflect the number of people that sat with us where we just couldn't get the deal done, okay? But if we focus on in-store referrals of just the units that we've sold, I'm going to share with you and show you incremental, immediate sales that you did not invest one penny beyond what you've already done to drive the opportunities that presented the sale in the first place. Earn and deserve. I would write that down. If you earn the right, you deserve the right to ask. But what you have to do is just ask. The difference between the have and the have-nots are that those with the courage to just ask will receive. I'm going to give you a couple of quick things of an aside. Service department operations, comparative to a dentist office or doctor visit. We are pre-programmed as modern consumers in North America that if someone asks us for an appointment, 83% of the time we just say yes. Stop and ask yourself how many times you've left a dental cleaning or a checkup and they didn't close you on the way out for your next appointment. Same should apply in our service operations. The point to that is that you just have to ask. You see, we miss 100% of what we do not ask for. And in this following calculation, this will change the trajectory of your store right here, right now, this month, this week, if you just ask. In-store referral, just ask. A 90-day view that only asks you, as the in the privacy of your office, user of this data, it's just going to ask you a couple questions. One associate at a time. Notice the yellow cells. Here's your 3 questions. How many units does Jeffrey sell month in and month out? Now I'm using national statistics and saying the rule of 8 applies. They sell 8 cars. Okay, great. The next question is a courage question. What percentage of the time, based on the fact that Jeffrey has worked with 8, actually more, but sold 8 cars, sat in front of 8 buyers, what percentage of the time will he or should he ask for a referral? And I have purposely watered this number down to allow weakness and excuse to tell us all the reasons why we can't do it or won't do it. It's too hard. I don't know what to say. I'm not in rapport. Whatever the case may be. So let's say it was 50% of the time, and they only ask for 1. That would result in 4 referral OTVs, opportunities to do business. It may not be tomorrow, it may not be for 3 months, but it is an opportunity, a prospect of immediate effect. If, based on the appointment creation percentage, we say it's a subjective sell of the people that we actually ask, of the people who actually give us insight into a man or woman or family who's in need of a new or new car, 2 of them or 50% of them will result in an appointment. May not be an appointment for tomorrow, but they will result in an appointment. Stop and think about the compound effect. You're about to put something into motion that if you stay with it every day will continue to feed you, okay? Now, using the in-store data that was already provided, we know that there's a 25% manager confirmation and so on, and show rates. Here's the data, pure and simple, all in one screen. If I sold 8 cars the prior month, and I asked 50% of the time, and 50% of those people created an appointment, I would have sold another half deal. call it 1. Round it up. Now look to the second month. Did I sell 8? No, I sold 8.5. So now I have 8.5 people to ask. Look all the way down to the bottom, applying the same math, which is watered down. I would now be selling an average of 9 cars a month. If I'm selling 9 a month by the 30-day mark, the 90-day mark, I have moved from 8 cars in the upper left to 9.7 in the lower right by doing one thing, asking. Now, I want to stop and blow this up for a minute. Often, I find myself in discussions with a room full of sales managers, GSMs, regional leaders, and we talk about what is necessary for us based on where we are in a particular month, decisions that are made from the desk to either concede or not concede $1 to make a car deal. So now the question is, if I'm going to concede $250, $300, $500 to make the deal, I'm going to make the deal. Is that fair? But as a sales manager, when I get paid based on the gross, which is driven by the appointments that show that become car deals, why wouldn't I walk back out, sit down with the Richardsons and say, I see where we're at. And I understand what you're asking me to do is you're asking me to invest in this relationship another $500 for us to complete this today. What I would like to share with you is that one of the things that we're most proud of here at the, in this case, Cardinelli Automotive Group, is that the vast majority of the business that we earn comes from repeat and referral customers just like yourself. Who else do you know? Maybe a family member, friend, colleague, someone at work who just no longer has a love affair with their car. You see, we have a very diverse used car inventory, and we would love the opportunity to make an offer to possibly purchase their car. So who can you think of that just doesn't have that affair right now, right? And so on, okay? If you just ask, you would get another 1, possibly 2 additional referral opportunities. How many of us, when you think about the amount of money that one would consider conceding to make a car deal, how many of us would not find great value into knowing firsthand that we now have 1 or 2 additional opportunities for us to go and make either a provisioned car straight to inventory or a potential another car deal? Just ask. From 8 to 9.7 consistently, or is it more? See, discipline and math say within our organization, we really don't have 8 car salespeople. They will be an 8-car salesperson for about 6 weeks. First month in the car business and halfway through the second month, and we move them to, as you'll see, our 8-car people will sell 11 the next month just because they follow the system. And 11 becomes 15, and theoretically 15 becomes 20. We have many that achieve those numbers. However, we all know that human limitations, everyone has the point wherein they become comfortable. But if as a sales manager, a GSM, a GM, a dealer principal, or a regional leader, if I took someone from 8 and they're consistently selling 12, and that's their new sweet spot, and that's as much as I'm going to get out of them, then I'm still going to have them get referrals. I'm just going to force a split on someone else who actually does the follow-up. You see the point here? Let's go more. How about outbound telephone calls? Seems to be the unicorn in many stores. Outbound phone calls. Can't get the people to do it. People ask us all the time, how are you able to accomplish the outbound phone call volume requirements that you do within your stores? What kind of a bonus plan do you have? What's your motivation? It's called employment. It's a job. We told you up front, this is exactly what we're going to do every day. We, true to our brand promise, we develop an outstanding relationship where everybody wins. You're going to go to work. But in exchange for that, you're going to have an industry-leading pay plan, and we are going to show you the black and white of what your efforts will produce in terms of unit sales and direct income. So let's look at real outbound phone calls, not clicks in the CRM or auto dials to the movie theater that racks up a 3-minute phone call, or my girlfriend or the flower shop or grandma or whatever the case may be. Let's look at real phone numbers. CTI, contact to an individual. Sales to CTI. The only question is, how many units do I want to sell? That's the question, individually, specific to a sales associate. Sit with them and show them this. You start at the bottom. I want to sell 8. You use the store discipline math. It's already hard-baked. You roll it all the way up to the top, and you say, if you will make 10 outbound 3-minute phone calls every single day, you will sell 8 cars, period. The math will not lie. It is the current disciplines and performance of the store. It is the predictive reality that will exist. Now move yourself back down to the bottom and say, why would I just set them at 8? Let's look at this center column. If I want to sell 10 units, I only have to make 13. If I want to sell 12, I only have to make 15. See the arrows, okay? There it is, pure and simple, basic math. This one screenshot you could print or screen share and email it to your associate and say, here is your work plan for the entire month. Recognizing, folks, that if I sold 8, or if I sold 10, or if I sold 12, I have the Just Ask referral process as well, do I not? All I have to do is ask. And my 10 will become 13, my 12 will become 15, whatever the case may be, right? Remember that this is what is generated from within the store. This is what is generated by going to work every day. More still yet, how about, I don't want to do the beating of the phone calls just yet. I cannot get my people to do X, Y, Z. I'm going to pick my battles. I'll get the phone calls in after I focus them on just appointments created. However they do it, I need them to create X number of appointments. So here it is, real appointments, sales to appointments, period. The only one question is, how many units do I want to sell? So here's the same scoring system or the same metrics or the same data asked a different way. If I want to sell 8 units, lower left, scroll to upper left, how many appointments do I need to create per day? 1.5. Every single day, if you're averaging 1.5, our store performance, the way it currently exists, is that you will sell 8 units. Now, I want to take the opportunity to blow up the Cardinelli standard. I am not blowing this up from an egotistical or arrogant standpoint. I'm blowing this up as a side-by-side comparison for you to be able to say, if I tweak some percentages, look at how much more efficient we will be, the more units that we will sell if my people are still doing the same volume. See, if you look in the left-hand corner, second from the top, 1.5 created appointments to sell 8 cars. In our culture is 0.7. So what if I rounded it off to 1 appointment per day, and I improved my performance of confirmation and shown and closed to shown? Would 1 a day get me 10? Would it get me 11? How much more money did I have to spend? 0. How much more staff or resources did I need? 0. It just came down to the discipline and the math that I just haven't looked. I look at them in a large scale. I think I know what they are, but until I put them in this environment, I just didn't know how block and tackle basic it was. Home stretch. 4 questions that power this last view. And this seems to be the view of great contention amongst groups with dedicated internet sales departments where they do not take inbound traffic, inbound phone calls of any kind. They're not the recipients of appointment center BDC appointments. These are the men and women sales professionals who will take it cradle to grave from the initial point that someone has contacted the store. It's lead volume, which we do not like the word lead. Lead is a 4-letter word in both reality and in vulgarity in our organization. Leads are subjective. Leads come with excuses. Buyers are the men and women that we attract, and until they say otherwise, all men, women, and families that have reached out to our stores in any form are to be respected, treated, and valued as a buyer right here, right now. So the buyer volume per month into the internet department, the number of dedicated, emphasize dedicated associates that I have placed into said internet department, the total volume of leads / buyers, and what percentage were contacted, and how many appointments were created. Basic math. Ready? In-market buyer volume to associate. If I had 600 leads, recognize that it struggles me to say that word lead. But if I had 600 in-market buyers, 600 form fills and chats in a month into my internet sales department, and I have 3 people in that department, that means the average in-market buyer per associate is 200. Stop and think about that. I have invested X thousands of dollars in any myriad of different things to make the form fill and chat submission volume equal something that I think is the right volume. But I've put 3 people in that department. Our standard, located immediately to the right, driven by a hard cap of 80 leads / in-market buyers allocated per professional per month maximum, produces an outstanding contacted percentage. Let's look at the 4th box down. The contacted percentage says of 600, recognizing that I have 3 sales associates, or whatever the number is, that's something for you to perform on your own. We contacted 42% of them. Put another way, we couldn't even get to 58% of them. So then we find ourselves in a different meeting from a different vantage point saying, we're not selling enough. We need more leads. Go spend $5,000 and go get more leads. Well, let me stop and blow that up for you. For $5,000, why not invest in another associate? One time for the first month to train them, to reallocate them, and then save the money forever. Because at that point, you have 4 people working with 600, which is still too many per person, but you've now increased your contact percentage, maybe another 4 or 5%. That will have an immediate effect on your bottom line and on the units sold. So let's take a look at the math as we roll through. 600 divided by whatever number you put in. This is for you to choose in the privacy of your own office, and recognize that some of these metrics might make you sick, which is why we started with courage. You have to have the courage to say, I can't believe that this is what's actually happening, but now I know, and now I'm in an opportunity and a position to be able to affect change. So at 42% contacted, that means we contacted 250 people versus the Cardinelli standard on 600 would mean we contacted 420. The number of scheduled appointments using the discipline and the performance as provided in the very first chart of the master data says that we are going to schedule 100, where we would have scheduled 315. So, if I have 100 scheduled appointments, my confirmation rate stays the same, my shown, my sold, I will have sold 25 units. I can't decide for you whether that's good or bad. I can tell you that if your investment in 600 leads was not less than $5,000, it's way too much money for not enough unit sales. So the question is, if I'm investing that much money, why am I trying to pour that kind of volume on top of men and women who are literally trying to answer and provide the service to the buyer, only then to blink and have 7 more fly onto their screen? That creates an environment whereby immediacy, I'm going to cherry pick it, I'm going for the low-hanging fruit, I'll get my 12 units, I'll get my 15 units, and I'll burn whatever it takes to get them, just simply because it's the only choice I have. I've got to hit my units. Now the comparison is, we don't need 600 unless we have 7.5 people ready to handle them. We'll throttle our numbers down, which is why our cost per unit sold hovers between $215 and $186 per unit sold, period. Okay? Look at the difference, and there's a performance note here. If you're not selling enough, look at your contact percentage, your appointment set percentage, and your average volume per associate per month. 25 on 600. See, most people don't necessarily look backwards at that. Say, did we invest $47,000 last month in XYZ different stuff? And as a result of it, we got umpteen phone calls, which went to one side of the building, and we got 600 form fill and chats. And the department sold 25 or 40 or 50 or whatever the case may be. But when you start looking at the discipline in math and you recognize that this is an investment of time, an investment of money, why don't we invest in a few more people? Right? Or how about 162 units on 600? The difference between the two is discipline and math. The difference between 25 and 50 is bodies and discipline. And thereafter, it just becomes scale and quality of the volume that you're producing. If of the 600, which is why we don't like the word leads, your internet teams turn around and say, these are shit, these are terrible, these people never answer the phone, I've called 17 times, I'm clicking them lost, I'm burning through them. Well, then stop and look at that and say, wow, why don't we just eliminate that? That eliminates 80 distractions in a month, frees up X number of thousands of dollars that I can either apply toward another associate or I can just put it to the net. Okay? Think, discipline, and math. Predictive profit. In this system, basic, block and tackle as it may be, let me caution you that what is easy to do is easy not to do. This is meant to be simplified, but it should not be perceived as oversimplified. The discipline and math that produce these percentages are yours. They're whatever you put in. They're whatever the true data of your CRM says, this is what we're doing. Now you have the ability to methodically, day over day, start to focus on these individual areas. It's our data right inside our systems. It does not need to be accessed or shared with anyone else. You put it in your data, your versions, but apply it to what is happening realistically inside of your stores each month. And you'll know exactly what you're going to do. Discipline. If you want to be a Svengali, a mystic, the smartest one in the room, take a look in your calculator. Whether you use the one that we will make available to you or you just do it in a rudimentary Excel form, it's fine. The data is yours. The data is the data. Now, if I know that I have an X% show rate, an X% confirmation rate, an X% close rate, and it's Thursday, I can tell you, or you can tell yourself, or you can tell the dealer, or as the dealer, you'll know. There's no mystery. I know exactly how many units we're going to sell come the end of the weekend, purely based on the data. If I have 47 appointments and X number of them show and X number of them sell, right? It is what it is, okay? Now, when you have the courage to start to hold people accountable for the smoke and fake appointments and your numbers go down, your percentages start to go up because you're starting to get to the real performance. Now you have a blueprint, a real live, in the palm of your hand, in the privacy of your office, ability to lead with accuracy by saying, I would love to have more people. I would love to sell 125 units. I either don't have enough sales associates, I have the wrong people in the wrong chairs, whatever the case may be, it just comes down to the math. With a few minutes left, I cannot close without really, truly emphasizing for you that manager involvement, not do you read my name tag, it says manager, you do whatever I say, pistol whip, knuckle drag, skull bashing shit. Manager involvement. You get what you praise. If the managers are paid on the net or the gross or whatever their combination they're in, they will want more quality appointments. And I would think that from a leadership standpoint, you want them, you need them. Voice to voice confirming your appointments. A manager confirmed appointment, which we have a process and a script, and I would be happy to share it with any of you on a different time when we have more time. A manager confirmed appointment will increase your show rate exponentially for the very reason that life gets in the way. I meant to come in on Thursday. She was such a sweet gal, this wonderful sales associate. I just didn't have the heart to tell her that I'm not coming in. Yet when a manager calls and kindly introduces themselves on the day the appointment was created, not the morning of. Let me emphasize, the day the appointment is created, the appointment is confirmed. People will share the truth. You know, Erich, I was talking with Rebecca, and she's just so sweet. I didn't have the heart to tell her we're not coming. No problem. We understand. She's a doll. Her clients love her. What other day or time is best for you? Or should I just have her bring the car to you at your office, to your wife, to your son, to your daughter, whatever the case may be? Manager involvement increases your show rate. But it has to be done mindful that everyone is participating in the flow of created, confirmed, equals shown, and we all know how to close when people come in. The close rates will purify based on the quality of the confirmation. So, discipline and math, pure and simple, Are you ready is the question. It's 2017. It's go time. Are you ready? Because in this call, simplified as it may be, with now 20 some odd seconds left, I'm going to run a few seconds over, we have unlocked the gold together. You have now the ability to unlock the gold in the privacy of your own environment. But what are you prepared to do? And that's a question only you can answer to yourself. But if you have the courage to really truly look and recognize that we all have the responsibility to provide and produce a return on the investments that were created, your career will change, the trajectory of the store will change. If you're not in a senior leadership position, you will certainly now be speaking the language of and have the value of those who are there to say, this woman, this man, this leader of XYZ, they get it. They're speaking my language. They're telling me, sharing with me, showing us how within our operations, based on what we have right this second, we can sell more faster and be more efficient. It's go time, 2017. Let's roll. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. My contact information is here. For those of you that have registered, that are active in your stores, with your permission, our office will provide you with an opportunity to opt in, if you would like, to an individualized, private, encrypted, personalized view for yourself of that calculator that you can use for a period of time. If you have any questions, if you'd like to reach out to me via email, that would be fine. My office number and my mobile number are on here. Leave a message, send me a note, whatever the case may be. I will do my very best to get back to you, or someone from our office to get back to you. But I do wish you the very best for 2017. I hope that you find value in this. Thank you very much, and have an outstanding first quarter.
Great. Thank you so much for attending today's webinar, and thank you to Erich, Gail, and the Cardinale Group for some great content that they always bring to us. To view this webinar on demand and future Digital Dealer webinars, please visit digitaldealer.com/webinars. Thank you and have a great day.